In this video, we're going to talk about KeyPath and the benefits that they bring us as Swift developers. But before we speak about KeyPath, we first need to speak about closures. Now, closures are a powerful tool in Swift and there are a lot of APIs that rely on them. So first, I'm going to paste some example of Swift code that uses closures. So as you can see, I've just pasted a call that performs a network request. So it's done using the function dataTask of URL session. This function is asynchronous, meaning that it's going to get its data asynchronously, and then the data will be handled by a completion handler, and this completion handler is defined here with a closure, meaning a function that will be called in order to consume the result of the network call. Now I'm going to paste a second piece of code that also uses closure, but this time in a completely different settings. So here we are dealing with animations. We have a UI label and we want to make it fade out of the screen. And so we want to animate the change of its alpha property. And to do this, we call the method animate on UI view. This method also takes a closure as its argument, but this time the closure is used to implement our animations. Now I'm going to paste a third example that this time focuses more on data manipulation. So as you can see, I've made a small extension on int in order to have a convenience complete property that tells me whether or not an int is even. Then I have declared an array of ints, and you can see that I am calling some function from the Swift standard library on the array. So first I am mapping on the array in order to get the description of my ints, so I want to turn them into strings, and then I'm also doing a filter in order to only retrieve the values that are even. And we can see that both these operations, they are also being implemented using closures. Closures are going to get a specific property on their argument. And here we can pause and we can start to see that even though all of these functions, they use closure, they actually use them in two very different contexts. Because in the first two examples, the closures, they are used to encapsulate arbitrary code. Basically, that could be anything in the closure, and the function doesn't really care about what's inside the closure. The function only cares about when it should be called. So the first function is going to call the closure once the network call has returned. The second function is going to call the closure in order to perform some animations. However, things are a little bit different when we focus on the last example, because here we can see these closures, well, they actually serve a very specific purpose, is that they act kind of like as getters for properties of their argument. The first closure is going to get the description property from its argument, and the second closure is going to get the isEven property from its argument. So we could say that these two closures, basically, they are part of a subset of the whole possible kind of closure, and this subset is the closure that take an argument and are only going to retrieve a property of the argument and return it. And when we formulate it like this, well, we can see that this closure, they actually perform the exact same job than a KeyPath, because the job of a KeyPath is to have a reference on a property that we can then invoke on an instance in order to get the property. So invoking a KeyPath on an instance is the same thing than calling this kind of closure and giving it the instance as its argument. And it's so much so similar that we can actually take this code, we can copy it, we can paste it, and we can remove the closure, and instead we can directly pass in the KeyPath as its argument. And why does this work? It's because the compiler is actually able to take the KeyPath and just transform it into a getter function. So by taking a look at this example, well, we can now say that we have a definition of what a KeyPath is. A KeyPath is a literal syntax that allows us to reference the getter or the setter on a property. But now we might be thinking, what is the motivation for adding this mechanism into the language? Because as we've just seen, everything that can be done with a KeyPath can also be done with a closure. Well, there are actually two main reasons behind it. The first one deals a lot with readability, meaning that when we create a closure, we need to add a lot of extra syntax. We need to add curly braces, we need to either give a name to its argument or use this notation to have anonymous arguments. This might seem small, but in a large code base, it can really clutter your code. On the other hand, a KeyPath requires less syntax because you can just pass it as a regular argument and you just need to add this backslash in front of the name of the property that you want to reference. So the syntax with a KeyPath is a little bit nicer, but it's not the only advantage of using a KeyPath, because really the key advantage of a KeyPath is its safety. Because for instance, let's focus on the function that we are giving as an argument to the map function here. So this function is going to be called on every element of the array and it's going to get the value of the property description. But actually, there is nothing that forces us to only get the value of the property description. We can do anything we want in this closure. So for instance, I could add a print statement in order to print something to the console, but I could also do all kind of crazy things like making a network call, creating a file. Basically, we could perform all kind of side effects. And of course, this is bad because the map function doesn't expect its argument to behave this way. But when this argument is represented by a closure, well, there is actually nothing that the compiler can do to prevent this issue. So the designer of the API has no way of saying that the function should only return a property. The function can do anything, and the person that designed the API has no way to guard against this kind of cases where the closure is performing more than just getting a property. And this can be an issue, and this is when a key path is going to give us some safety. It's because if your function is designed to work only with key path and not with raw closure, well, you can only give it a key path, and a key path, the only thing that it can do is to get a property. It cannot do anything else. So we have this guarantee at compile time that the argument that we pass in to the function is only going to do what it is expected to do and nothing else. And to show you how these two benefits of KeePath can really improve our code, I'm going to paste in a small snippet of code that uses SwiftUI and that really helps drive this point home. So let's paste in the code. So as you can see, I have added a data structure, so I've kept it very simple. It's a person, it has an ID and a name. Then I have an array of people, and finally I want to display this array as a list. And we can see that in SwiftUI, when we want to display a list, of course we need to give the constructor of a list the collection of objects to display, but we also need to give an ID. And that makes sense because lists are diffable and SwiftUI needs to know which property holds the ID of the object. But we can see that this ID is provided using a key path, meaning that SwiftUI wants us to give it a key path on the property. A closure is not going to work here, and we are going to see why, because, well, let's say that we change the code in order to use not a key path, but a closure. And let's see how it would look like. So we would have here a closure, and here I would have my $0.ID. So it would look something like this. So first we can see that in terms of readability, it would definitely not be great because we would have these curly braces here that define an inline closure, but then we would have another closure in order to build our view. So it would feel very cluttered, and basically the code would be a little bit hard to read because this closure wouldn't feel that much different than this closure, even though they would perform a very different job. But also, as I was saying, there would be nothing that would prevent me to do some kind of weird thing in the closure that gets the ID. I could be doing some print statement, I could even be changing the data source, I could do just anything, and SwiftUI would have no way to guard against this issue. So that's why SwiftUI doesn't use closures in order to know which ID to use for a given object. It uses a key path because key paths are both safer, but they also make our code more readable. So that's all for this video about what the heck KeePath are. I hope I've managed to help you get a better understanding of all the benefits of KeePath, and I hope that you now see why Apple is using them so much in its new framework like Combine or SwiftUI. Now you know how things go on YouTube. You can like the video, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching and see you next time.